Hi Leo, welcome to my channel. My name is Kim. So for today's meditative session, I got something from a movie. So I don't know if everyone's gonna know what I'm talking about. So it's a Studio Ghibli movie. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the movie is Princess Mononoke. I don't know if that's how you say it. But yeah, I've seen it before, but it's like I saw the spirit of the forest, like when I closed my eyes, the spirit of the forest, which is in the movie. So the spirit of the forest, if you haven't seen this movie, it's basically like the life of the forest, right? That's what I would say it is. It's like, it's what takes care of this like forest, and it's like a beautiful, beautiful forest, and like there's people trying to kill the spirit of the forest, right? Because they want to take over the land, right? Like they're industrializing. It's like, it's not the Industrial Revolution or anything. It's just like they want to like industrialize the area, and the spirit of the forest kind of protects the trees, right? So it's like, oh, let's kill the spirit of the forest. So they managed to do it, but the forest is able to kind of be rebirthed. And that's what the message that I feel like I need to tell you. It's like, when the forest dies, I mean, the spirit dies, right? The forest kind of dies. But with the like rebirth of the spirit, like it's like the spirit dies, but it gives its life to bring back, like it's with its death, the forest is rebirthed. So something about like death and rebirth for you, Leo, because it's like the spirit of the forest dies, and then with its death, the forest is rebirthed and healed. That was like the key things. It was like healed and rebirthed, but with its death. So it's like, I kind of feel like if you guys have gone through some sort of like death rebirth process, where it's like only in your, like through this death, like of the soul, death, like not of the soul, but death of the ego, right? Sorry, death of the ego, can the soul like flourish, right? So it's kind of like, that's what I'm getting from this. It's like, there's a death, right, of the spirit animal, but then with it comes birth, and healing, and that's exactly what I'm seeing for you. As it's like, with the death of maybe the ego comes this rebirthing of like something new, right? Like something better, something, yeah, I want to say better, something like healing, right? Like, yeah, the forest was beautiful before, right? But the spirit animal's death wasn't in vain, right? Because it's able to rebirth the forest again. And that's what I'm getting, Leo, for your meditative session. Maybe you guys have gone through some sort of loss, gone through some sort of like change, like an ego death, right? And it's like leading to this transformation of like your soul, right? Like now your soul is able to flourish, right? So yeah, Leo, that's what I got for your meditative session. If you haven't seen the movie, it's Princess Mononoke. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, it's a really interesting movie, and it's weird that I got the spirit of the forest for you guys. So maybe you guys should watch it. But yeah, Leo, let's pull some cards for you. It's so funny, Leo, that I saw this in the meditative session, and I was gonna tell you guys, like, maybe you have Taurus in your chart, because this reminds me of Taurus, this card. So it could be meaning Taurus, or it could be, for some of you, or it could just be this like Four of Pentacles energy. And I feel like this is associated with the ego. Like these two cards are associated with the ego. Like this is like an ego kind of, this is what we're talking about, right? It was like the death of the ego in the meditative session, like the forest. And then we have a forest, which is so cool. Like, it was like, right, like the spirit of the forest, right, dies so that something could be rebirthed and it's better. And like, it's like a healed version, right? And what's coming up, I feel like, is the soul, right? And the ego's kind of dying. And that's what this is, these two cards, it's the ego. The hero card to me always looks like the ego. And it's so crazy because in the movie there's this like main character, like there's a lot of animals in the movie. It's a lot about the forest, right? And one of the main characters is like this it's not a pig. Is it a pig? It's like a, what is it called? The pig with the tusk? Hold on, I have to look it up. Okay, so in Princess Mononoke there's a boar, and he's the main character, and there's a boar here, like, and it looks exactly like him. I don't know, you guys have to watch this movie. You see the boar right there? It's crazy, man. Okay, so I think there's something about like, I think there's also something about like you fighting so that your ego could live, right? It's like you were fighting back to keep this alive because I feel like you thought that this was you. I feel like you fought hard to keep this part of you alive because you thought that this was the real you. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. I said it twice. It's like, yeah, this is who you thought you were, so you fought hard to protect it. Do you see how this person has like spears? Spears? Yeah. It's like this person is fighting hard to protect some sort of aspect of themselves, right? And it's like, it's the ego. And I don't think you knew, like, I don't think you knew that. Like, I think you thought that that was like, you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't understand the difference between the soul and the ego and like the fears that were like trapping you kind of deal, and like the actual like reasons like why we do things, right? For love and like happiness, etc., etc. So it's like that's what I feel like this is. It's like it was hard to let go because you fought for it. Like, you wanted it to stay because you thought that this was the main you. You thought this was like you, right? And yeah, I'm getting something about like, now it's like, I feel like now that this has happened, like maybe now you're noticing like the dark and the light, right? And like maybe even the times that you were dark, right? The times that you were triggered, the times that you were like stepping onto this path without like there's an aspect of like stepping onto the path not seeing, right? Like, do you see how she's stepping off the path and she's not seeing, and this person's also stepping out and they're kind of not seeing. They're like a little confused. And I feel like this has led you confused, right? Because it's like, again, it's like your reality has changed. Your reality has changed. Yeah, your reality has changed. Like, who you are has changed. So now you see things differently, right? And you're like looking at things and you're like, I can't believe I never noticed this before. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe like I've been sitting here doing this and this has nothing to do with me, or this doesn't resonate with me, and I'm like sitting here. Like, that's how the ego tricks you, right? It's like keeping you in a place that like you don't really belong to, or a vibe that doesn't resonate with you anymore. And it's like, once this comes out, right, this death of the ego, what happens is like we have this new perspective on like everything, right? We're like, it's like it's like, I just see new, like I see you looking at things differently, and you're like, okay, like I feel like you thought you were like really blind. You're like, I don't know how I'm here. Like, I feel like that. I think I got that last week too for you guys. It's kind of like, last week it was more abrupt though. Oh yeah, and last week I think Taurus had it too, where it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here kind of vibe. So I feel like that was last week, and now this week it's more of like an acceptance, I want to say, because it's like it was more of a shock last week, and now it's more of like an acceptance of, okay, like I kind of understand why this happened, and it's like I have to keep moving forward, like I have to keep going. And I see this being like the difference between these cards. Like, do you see how these two cards, like they're like staring you like straight in the face, right? And these two cards, they're like kind of looking away or looking into something like beyond. And that's how I feel about this process. It's like, it's gone beyond. It's like beyond that outer shell that we have. It's literally like hitting the soul, right? It's like touching part of you that's like very deep that you didn't even, I don't even know if you realized you had it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's weird too, because I'm seeing like these two pathways are mirroring each other. Do you see how like there's two paths here and they look kind of exactly the same? Oh my god, I've never seen this. In the background of this path there's a stag. Yeah, I think you're being led to a place, and it's like, I think both of these people are looking right. This kind of reminds me of Gemini. Like, they're being led in a certain direction, like away from something else, and they didn't really like understand why. They were just, I think their like feelings were like towards the right, but like spirit is in the left. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm feeling kind of like tied, like between these two places I'm supposed to be. Like, I don't know where I'm, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if this is feelings, if this is ego, like a little bit of a confusion there. But it's like, you have to understand that the ego, I feel like, works in fear, right? The ego works in like what you're afraid of losing. The ego works in, it's like it manipulates the energy, right? So you think, like, that's what I feel like this was for you. It's like you felt like it was a part of you. You felt like this is who you were, but it ended up just being your ego. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what kind of like shock that is? It's like a lot of the decisions I've been making have nothing to do with like love, and they have more to do with like 3D ego. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a huge shock, right? And it's like, now you have a decision to do things differently. And I think that's going to be like the hard part, right? Doing things a little differently, because it might change a lot of what you're doing right now. It might change like your career. It might change like your friends. It might change who you're like in a relationship. It changes a lot of things, right? So it's like accepting that is going to take some time. And I think you're on to acceptance now. I think last week it was more of like, now it's like you're on to acceptance, right? And I want you to know that like this is all part of like, it could be a written contract between you, like a contract that you had. Like, there's something here though, like that it was like with the destiny card, I feel like it was like, this is all meant to happen. Like, this is all like part of like the plan. And even though it's like you feel like it's like a bump on the road, or you feel like it's like confusing, like I feel like it's just part of the plan. Like, there's a plan here, and it's like neither you or I can see it, but there's like a plan going on. And it's like I feel like it's coming closer to fruition the more that you walk this way, right? Like, the more that you leave the ego, the more like this way you head, and then the more you head in that direction, the more like they're like, I feel like they're like waiting for you. They're like, yes, like they're going the right way. Like, it's almost time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some sort of like preparation being made over here. And it's like, as you get closer and closer, I feel like spirit, or like someone's getting more excited. Like, I could feel it. I feel it a lot. Like I'm smiling, and I feel like them like getting really happy at the fact that you're like going in this direction. So it's like, what's in this direction? I have the King of Fire. I have the Queen of Fire. I have the Ace of Cups. And you know what's crazy? If you look at the bottom of the deck, like, I always take a peek. I have Abundance. I have the Ace of Swords. I have the Ace of Wands, Nine of Wands, King of Earth. Like, I have literally 3 aces, like abundance and 3 aces here. It's crazy. Like, and it's crazy because we're talking about the forest, right? And we don't have the ace of like earth, right? But it's like, you don't need it, because like this, I feel like this is your ace of earth. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you rebuilding the forest, like healing the forest. That's your ace of earth. Like, that's it's like you have all the aces here. So it's like a very divine plan. It's a very divine, like, there's structure to this, even though it doesn't feel like, I feel like you need to hear that. Like, you need to hear like there's something going on that you don't understand, but like that it's like going the right way, and it is going the right way. Like, if you're dropping the ego, it's going the right way. If you're walking this direction, it is the right way. And it's like, you can't see anything, but like, it is the right way, right? And it's just freaking you out that you can't see it, but I'm telling you, like, you're going the right way. This is like part of some sort of plan that spirit has, and maybe like your soul has, but like your soul has come to do this work, and like you're not aware of it, but spirit is aware of it. So you're being led in this direction, right? And you have all the aces here, so it's like a really brand new beginning for you, and this is going to be very balanced, right? This is very balanced. And I have the 6 of Swords, which is my favorite card, and it's like literally like spirit, you know, like opening you up and giving you all these downloads, right? Like, maybe you're going to be able to like perceive things that you weren't able to see before. Like, you're able to understand things in a way that you didn't before. You're able to understand duality. Like, this is you like becoming like changed, but like you're still yourself, right? Like, you see how they have like half the dark and half the light? Like, you're still yourself. Like, it's not, I feel like you're worried about leaving this behind. Like, you're so worried about this. It's like, why are you so worried about the ego? I don't know. There's something here. I think it has to do with confidence, honestly. It has to do with confidence. It's like, why are you afraid to leave this behind? Like, here I'm looking at this card. It's my favorite card, and I never noticed. It's like, well, what about this side of me? Like, what about that? Like, do I have to leave it behind? And I think you're going to find out that you don't, right? Because this is the last card. Well, it was the last card until I took out the Ace of Cups, right? And the Queen of Cups. But it's like, this is the last, like, aspect, right? Like, the last card. And I feel like that's letting you know that, like, yes, there's a death to the ego. And you're, like, worried now about, like, I feel like it's like confidence and safety. It's like, I have, like, yeah, do you see this person has armor? It's like you're, like, worried about your own safety. You're like, am I going to be protected? Am I going to be, like, okay if I leave this behind? It's like you're leaving your armor behind, right? And you're walking out without your armor, and you're like, I'm not protected. I'm going to get, like... like, I'm not protected. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you don't feel protected now. Yeah, like, do you see how this person's hiding behind, like, this house? And this person's hiding behind the armor. And then these two people are kind of, like, out. And they're kind of, like, not naked, but, like, they're not armored, right? So your main concern, I feel like, is, like, what if I leave this behind? I don't, like, there's something that you still have to work out. Like, it's like you don't feel safe, right? And it's like you don't feel protected. And you're like, it's something about your confidence. Like, maybe you put on a facade a lot of the time, but, like, the real you acts very differently, and you're, like, afraid to be, like, that real part, like, that real you, right? But I feel like you're going to be able to take, like, you're taking some part of this with you, right? Do you see that she only has, like, the ring on? It's like you don't need all this. Like, she only has the ring and, like, the crown. It's like you don't... It's like the armor that you thought that you needed, like, you're taking, like, only the ring. Do you see how little that you needed? Like, it has something to do with that. It's like you have this whole suit of armor, right? And you have this whole house, like, protecting you. And then you come out, and it's like you're going to learn, like, you only need, like, that little ring. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's how much of the ego is, like, actually needed to protect yourself. And maybe that's, like, you're covering yourself between, like, with a house and a suit of armor, and it's like, well, you only really need, like, this little bit of your ego to, like, survive. You don't need as much as you think that you need. And that's what I want to say. It's like, it might feel scary, and you might feel, like, a little naked, and you're like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. Maybe there's like plans, like, with the Ace of Cups and, like, someone else here. I feel like you're insecure about it, and you're, like, worried about it, and you're like, you're worried about, like, giving this emotion. Maybe that's what this armor is. It's like you've been protecting yourself, right, by being, like, stiff and, like, unemotional and super, like, hard to reach, right? And it's like, that's the armor that you wear. And it's part of your ego. It's like a defense mechanism you made to protect yourself. And, like, you're going to find that, like, in this new cycle, like, you're still going to protect yourself, but it's like, it's so not even needed. Like, do you see how the light kind of protects her? The light is, like, shielding her in a sense. It's like, yeah. And, like, this like everything's in front of her, it's protecting her, but, like, it's like elements of spirit, elements of, like, you're protected, but, like, in a different way, I want to say. And I feel like you're more scared to give out. I feel like what this comes down to is, like, emotions. Like, you're scared to, like, let people see who you really are. And I feel like this is who you really are, right? Like, yeah, you are the King of Wands. Like, I'm getting, like, yeah, you're the King of Wands, but it's like you have the capacity to also be in this energy, right? And this is the energy that scares you, and this is what had to die, and this is why you're hiding behind the house, and you have the armor. It's like all for people not to see this, and it's like, this is, like, the scariest thing for you. This is what you've been working on. Like, this is what you're scared of. And I feel like you know that you're going in this direction. It's really scary to you, Leo. So I want to say, I think you're going to be met with this energy, right? Because you have the Queen of Cups. So it's like, yeah, I think that's something that you can acquire. Like, you have this in you already, but it's like you're letting it show. So it's like, yeah, I think you can let it show, and that you're going to be met with, like, the same energy in return. I think that's another thing you're scared of. It's like, it's the balance, right? It's like, will it be returned when I give it out? Will it be returned if I like take all this armor out and I get out of the, like, I feel like out of the castle, right? And like show my face and actually show my actual face and like who it is that I really am. Am I going to be met like equally? Am I going to be met? Am I going to be protected? It's like, is this a safe place for me to like show? And it's like a whole new side of you, Leo, and it's really beautiful. And yeah, I think you will be, because you have the Queen of Cups here. So yeah, Leo, I really love this reading. Let's pull some advice for you. Okay, Leo, I'm getting 2 energies with Fox Spirit. 2, 7, breaking into a 9. There's a lot of 9s in these readings. It's like the end, right? Like right before the end of the cycle. And what I feel like this is like 2 things. It's like, 1, things are changing quickly, right? And that you feel it. Like you can feel the change, right? And that's why you're scared, right? That's where this like defense of like putting the armor back on and hiding behind the house comes from. It's like you're scared. And with Think on Your Feet, I think that's the energy that you feel like you need to be in. That's like your ego, like, oh, be careful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be quick. Like, you have to be careful. Like, this energy is like you're scared, right, of this energy. And you're feeling like you need to be protected. And I feel like that's the ego, right? With the orange, it's like, it's the ego. And it's like, you're going towards, like, yes, it's still orange, right? Like, you see how they're both the same color? It's like you're still gonna have like this protection, but it's just like in a healthier way, right? And it's like these boundaries that you don't let people cross, they're gonna be crossed, right? But with Think on Your Feet, it's like this energy is coming, like this is a quick energy. I feel like this is happening very quick. And now I'm feeling like it's happening too quickly for you and you're feeling like overwhelmed. It's like you're nervous and you're getting anxious because it's happening quickly and you feel it. And there's nothing wrong with it, Leo. Like, let it take you. Like, let the energy take you. Like, take off the armor, right? Be like that self that you want to be. Like, be that true, like, authentic self. Like, don't hide behind this anymore. Yeah, it's happening quickly, but it's happening for you, not to you, right? Yeah, and I feel like, Leo, the message for you is like, with Amaterasu, the goddess of light. I think you guys got her last week too. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. I think like this is saying to you, like, the reasons like you've been met with this is because sometimes you're met with this energy because this is what you're showing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you're showing this energy, so that's why you get met back with it. Like, if you're not showing any emotions, you're not going to be met with emotions. It takes like, it's like, but when you get into this emotional state, you get met back with the emotions. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, once you give this, then you have the Queen Cup here. Do you know what I'm saying? Sorry, Leo, my doorbell was ringing and I had to get it. But yeah, with Amaterasu, the goddess of light, it's like the mirror, like, I think you get offended and like, it's like disheartening when people respond to you in this way. Because I feel like this is really how you feel, right? But it's like, the message is like, if you sit in this energy, you let this energy kind of take you, then you will be met back with it, right? Like, there's a reciprocation coming for you. That's what this leads to, right? But it's like, you've been reflected back this mirror, this image, right, back. But that's because that's the energy you were giving. So the energy that you give is very important. The energy that you give is what starts this. So it's like, once you learn to sit in this energy, then you'll be reciprocated with the energy that you wish to receive. So it's like, it starts with you, Leo. I think it's really important for you to understand that. And then, like, that's what this whole, like, working on you is for, because then you're able to, like, give this out and you're going to get met back with the same energy. So yeah, Leo, I really love this reading. I love you guys. I hope this resonates, and I'll see you next week. Bye.